Hello. Hi everyone. Oh, I should not have worn a green t-shirt while having a green screen. Okay, I guess we need to keep that in mind for next time. Yes, it is me, Phantom 87. Thanks for being here, everyone. Um, so this is going to be a little ad hoc. We'll see how it goes. Um, this is our first dev update. So thank you all for joining us and being here, and let's see um, how it's going to proceed. I'm a little excited about this and stressed. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully, everything will be fine, and nobody will notice how unprepared I am. But we're DMs, so a DM is always unprepared, right? Okay. Um. So for those who don't know, the Forge. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows here. But the Forge, we are a hosting service for Foundry. Foundry VTT, which is the best
Hello,
virtual
motherfucker.
tabletop out there. Um, Hello, Phantom. Um, but we are more than just hosting. We like to call ourselves a platform that is powered by Foundry VTT. Um, so we have quite a few features, and the bazaar being one of them that we'll get to soon. Um, if you are not logged in, you will see this new features button. This is one of the recent updates that we did for the Forge, where we kind of go through the various features that you get that are unique to the Forge. And we're not going to go through them all here, obviously, but you have the option to go into the features page and read in what we kind of provide for you. Obviously, we have this little nice drawing here showing how if you're a self-hosting Foundry, while it does work, there's a lot of things that are missing in order to increase security, increase the performance, add audio video conferencing support, and everything. While with the Forge, it's just very, very simple and easy to get set up. Um, and we have the import wizard, we have the assets library, we have the bazaar, we have our exclusive game manager and user manager features that I'll show you soon. But yeah, that's this page is one of the new features that we added recently. It is also um, something that we are working on to improve as well. So it's not its final version, but it's a good start to get you situated so you know um, how everything works. All right. So when you subscribe to the Forge, you get your games here available to you. So I have a bunch of games here, as you can see, and we have, uh, I can mark some as favorites. This is another feature that is in the Forge that isn't elsewhere, and we have the ability to launch straight into a world. Um, each world would have its own URL. That's our storyteller features. Um, uh, that's our storyteller features. That's the game manager. So I can go back and go to a different game with a different URL, and that gets us straight into the Clash of Cobalt Cauldron, for example, here. And this one has the user manager enabled, so as you can see, it will start uh, straight into the game itself, already logged in. So That's great. So as you can see, I use this for testing. I do have here join game as. This is also a Forge feature that can let you, as a DM, just switch to a player view, for example, and it just created a new player temporarily for you that will get deleted at the next time it launches the game. So you can use it to just see how things look from a player's perspective, and then you can just switch very easily back to GM. So those are the game manager and user manager features that we've had for a little while now. One of the big features that we also have is the bazaar. Whoops, this is the wrong one. So we have the bazaar. The bazaar is a rather large set of features now. It started as um, the original concept, the original idea was to be able to browse for the modules and the systems and everything that Foundry provides. Back then, the only thing that was available was the wiki, where developers would be manually adding their content um, to the list in the wiki. And then Foundry had its own module listing, so that delayed the release of the bazaar. But then I ended up doing a portion of it where everything that is public modules and systems and worlds, they get stored by the Forge for you, and it's just not using any of your quotas. And you can see, so I can install and uninstall. It's really quick, um, and you can do a bunch of updates rather fast as well. Um, and if you compare that to the self-hosted, that's very, very fast because we host everything. Um, and one of the biggest changes in the recent months is the addition of the Bazaar Marketplace, where you can see we have many, many new content now that are available for purchase. Um, many map packs. We have assets. We have game worlds as well. So you can see Tamkardos, Moonlight Maps, Meditating Monkey, the Mad Cartographer. There's all sorts of content uh, from various content creators. So that's um, that's how it is. Um, I currently can install all of these, but you would normally see a purchase button. You can also buy one and offer it as a gift to someone else, so you can do that as well. Um, you can you can do quite a bit um, of stuff with these modules that will help you in your setup of your games. Um, so the Forge has really quickly evolved from being a hosting service for Foundry to being a more integrated and more um, encompassing platform with all sorts of stuff in it. And the being the first and the only marketplace for Foundry content is another one of our big advantages here. So if you want to look for something that you enjoy, you can see what's in those packages, and then you can decide to buy something. Um, that's great, and it will just make it much easier for you to get started with your games. Let me see um, if we can quickly try something here. Let me see. Um, so we have a. So what do we have? Um, So let's try Dumb Cardos, um, Dragon's Horn Tales. Those are premium content available on the Forge. I'm not sure what else we have here. Okay, let's try these for now. So I've enabled this module, and let's see, what does it say? Welcome to Dragon's Horn Tales Encounters Volume 1. Encounter pack contains 10 carefully designed encounters with monster tactics, leads, hooks, and new monsters, etc. So open the scene compendium or the general compendium. Let's open the scenes compendium, and let's import the Frost Giants one. Let's activate it. Select to link actors. Yes. So there's this. Let me just disable my mouse gestures. There it is. We can try the goblin one. Oops. Oh, that's journal. Let's go to the scene. Let's view the scene. So you have a nice scene here with an encounter ready for you. We have the map, everything. So there's that one. Let's see. Place of the Emperor from Tom Cardos. That's another one. Let's view the scene. And so you get these beautiful maps as well. So that's more or less what the bazaar is about. It's the Foundry marketplace, and it's and it allows you, as you've seen, to, for example, see the all the things that are ready to be updated. It allows you to browse and install content rather quickly. You can filter. Let's say, for example, you go to systems and you can say search for compatible modules with D&D 5e, and so it gives you all the modules that are compatible with D&D 5e. We can search for something that is related to dice, and we can do like better. So better rolls or better dice. You can match any or all. So you have all sorts of options. You can say something that has, well, is BR for Brazil? Or let's say we want, yeah, BR is for Brazil. So you can filter with all sorts of stuff. Let's see what's in the chat here. Magic Item is growing like crazy. It seems writing how to was in vain, but it seems it is easy enough without it. Yes, Rughalt. Thank you. Rughalt in the chat right now is the one who made the RGH. What's the name? Dragon's Horn, I believe. Dragon's Horn Tales Encounters Volume 1. So yes, I did not read your how-to, but yeah, it was easy enough, and it just brings with it everything. It's well automated, so that's good work. Hey, Mr. Vox, what was your module, by the way, Vox? If I can show that as well. Was it magic items? I think. Yes, there it is, magic items. So let's have a look at the magic items. Oh, Loot Tavern Compendium. Okay, let's have a look. Loot Tavern. No, I don't have Loot Tavern here. Destiny, that's in your account. I don't think you've enabled it. Oh, okay, so magic items are also yours. Okay, cool. Good. So where is magic items? There it is. So you get all sorts of pre-configured and pre-set up magic items to use. With all sorts of stuff for the users to just for the DM to just take and place into their games. Ready-made content from Loot Tavern. All right. Um, Now that's kind of what we've released recently. You can go to our forums from here, and let's see, in the announcement server update changelog, you'll get to see everything that's been happening. Let's go back. The very top has a changelog that will tell you all about the changes that I'm doing constantly on the Forge. So yeah, the features page was added here in March 19th. Um, and yeah, we are making constantly new changes um, to the bazaar. Um, and I am now on the dev server, and this is one of the features that we've been working on. That is the D&D Beyond integration that I know a lot of people have been excited about. It is coming very soon. Um, Probably, I would say tomorrow. Tomorrow might be release day for this. It is, however, um, a beta or even alpha. I would say. Um, I am. I have a very high standard of polish and quality, and I don't think we're there yet. But I think it's ready for people to start poking at and seeing what it looks like, and reporting issues that they see, so we can actually start fixing them to get it to that state of highly polished um, content and interface and user experience that people seem to be enjoying with the Forge. So this is how it works. Once we release, you will be uh, you will have this little option here for D&D Beyond, and it will allow you um, to start importing content if you are a patron of Kakaroto, which is me. So you would need to be a patron, so we know that only those who are um, dedicated users who want to try and who know that it is not a stable service yet, and they are ready to give it that early access. Um, they would be the ones to give it a try. I'm trying to read at the same time the comments that are happening in chat. So let's see. This is gonna throw my dad this. He loves D&D Beyond. How could you get D&D Beyond on board? Incredible. So I am in talks with D&D Beyond to get this approved in a sort of official capacity. I don't have anything in writing yet, but it's going quite well. So yeah, hopefully it's at least approved on an official in an official way that the use of their internal API is accepted by the Forge. Um, so before we get to showing off the D&D Beyond integration, because I know you all want to see it, um, let's go and do the Reddit raffle. So if you guys weren't aware, we had um, a a giveaway that we did on Reddit a little while ago. So we are giving away five $20 gift cards, and after we had the deadline of April 1st, um, I realized I wanted to do this live on stream so people know that we're not just randomly selecting people that um, uh, that we wanted to make them win. So we wanted to do this online in front of everybody. So let me see. How do we do this? We're going to be using Reddit Raffler. Let me check. How does it work? It's going to be this. All right, let's move it over here. So we are giving away 5 gift cards. So it's this one here. I've never done this before, so I don't know how it's going to work. Minimum account age. I don't know if we had any of that in the rules, but it should. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to use the karma thing. Ignored users, no. We're just going to submit and see what happens, right? You won't be able to edit or remove this raffle once it's created. Please make sure you've entered the options correctly. Okay. Okay. Submit or not? Okay, let's submit. Okay. Selecting winners and done. Okay. Here are our winners. Andrak Sangin, Cowboy 1, Humperdinck the Warlock, Metro Knight, and Vampire Owls. So our 5 winners here, I think Humperdinck the Warlock, I don't know if it's the same person, but I think it's one of our Bazaar creators actually. So here are our 5 winners. I am expecting to maybe post this somehow, or maybe the link itself is public. I don't know. Yeah, he's the Bazaar creator. I think I might need to redraw this one, or probably just give it to him, and if he wants to give it out to someone else, then he can probably do that. But I think he won fair and square. He is probably also a gamer user who might enjoy the gift card, so I'm not going to disqualify him. But if Humperdinck wants to send out his gift card to maybe a friend or someone else, then he can do that. All right, we will screenshot this. I mean, I probably don't need to screenshot it. It's in the video. There's also the link, but we will want to submit this in Reddit for the winners. I will contact them, or actually, I'm going to ask Destiny to contact them, who takes care of Destiny, who takes care of a lot of the admin tasks for me. All right, so congratulations to all the winners. Thank you for participating. I would recommend people go check out all these amazing comments, and people have told us about some of the stuff they would like to do with the reward, and how it could change their DMN sessions. So have a look if you're interested in what everybody had to say. All right. Thanks again for participating, and congratulations. Now let's get back to the D&D Beyond integration. So one of the things that is important to note is that the Forge is not a distributor of the D&D content. We're not selling it. We are only going to be accessing the user's content, and by accessing their content from D&D Beyond, we're doing it. We're doing the download on their behalf and then converting it to a format that Foundry can understand. So even the list of packages available, um, we can't provide that. You have to fetch it on your own. So once you authorize the Forge to fetch the list of packages from D&D Beyond on your behalf, and then you click import. There you go. Then it will start uh, to get that content from D&D Beyond, and then it uploads to your assets library some of that content, so that you can actually start using it. And so it takes about maybe 30 seconds, something like that, for the listing to be populated. So we're just gonna let it do its thing, and then once it's done, in theory, we will have our list of packages available to download and convert. And there it is. There you go. Um, so as I said, I cannot be providing with these images this content, but if I go to my assets library, and then look at D&D Beyond here, the images, the book covers, they're uploaded into my own personal assets space. This is because the Forge is downloading that content on my behalf and putting it in my personal storage. Um, so once you do that, then you can start to import content into your Foundry Gaming. So when I click, so you'll notice the workflow here is a little similar to how you would have PayPal embedded on a page, right? So I canceled this, so I haven't confirmed my intent here. But once you confirm, and I authorize the Forge to validate my purchase of the basic rules. Well, basic rules is free, but you get the idea. Basically, you authorize the Forge to download the content on your behalf and then transfer that content to my Forge storage space and converting it to either a world or a module. So basic rules should be a module in theory, so compendium packs, but we're going to convert for now everything into worlds, because the module system is a little bit hard to work with, as you'll soon see. But yes, you will be able to um, convert either as a module or as a world. So you would have, for example, Curse of Strahd as a world, but the Monster Manual as a compendium pack. Um, Hi Dauber, D Dauber. There is no tool. It's just part of the Forge features. It's an upcoming feature that will be released probably tomorrow as a early access alpha slash beta testing to my patrons, who will be able to use that to test and report to me the kind of issues that they're seeing, so we can improve it and make it something stable and something that I can provide to everybody on the Forge automatically. So here's Curse of Strahd. This should be potentially a little faster because the basic rules, monster manual, those are the big ones. Yeah, you haven't seen it before because we're on the development server right now. This is upcoming feature. But yes, the purpose is to just simplify the entire process. So let's go real quick here and see what we have. We have the basic rules. We have Curse of Strahd, which we just installed, right? Let's go and what should I do? Oh yeah, I know exactly which module we should try. If I do Forge, the Forge of Fury, obviously this is the module that needs to be installed right now. There's no question about it, right? So it takes a little bit of time, right? Because we have to download the content from D&D Beyond. using your own account. So if I didn't have Curse of Strahd, or if I didn't buy um, the Yawning Portal, so the Forge of Fury, so if I didn't have those accessible to me in my D&D Beyond account, then it would not have worked. And actually, I will show that to you right now. I will, in my other window here, I will sign out from D&D Beyond, um, and then I will sign in using a different account. So if I was to say I wanted to import Out of the Abyss, it should fail. You need to purchase this content from D&D Beyond before being able to import it. Purchase this content from D&D Beyond's marketplace, and then you click it, and then I would be able to buy that content here from D&D Beyond. So you buy it, you buy the source material directly from D&D Beyond, and then that would allow you to just import that content into the Forge automatically. All right, what's next? The Forge of Fury. There it is. Um, let's have a look at the Forge of Fury. I don't think I've explored it fully. I'll open the basic rules in a second tab at the same time. Um, so I'm launching these worlds, right? Logs right into it. And there's my landing page, the Forge of Fury, which is the book cover basically. And so the first thing you notice here is that all the scenes have the same name. Um, it's one of the changes that needs to happen. If we look at the walls, there are no walls, there is no lighting, there are no tokens. That's normal. That's why it's still beta. It's not yet available um, with all the details that you might want. So you can see the monsters that are specific to this adventure. They were added here. They are not perfect. Because they might be referring, let's say, so Orog is not a spellcaster, but let's say that you'll notice that in Curse of Strahd, for example, but if they had spells, then their spell list would not be filled because the spells aren't part of this adventure. They would be in the basic rules. So um, that's one of the things that I want to fix. So let's go and look at the basic rules, which is a bit more complete. So you can see all the monsters there. Let's start with the aboleth. So it's all the details, and we can actually compare it with the SRD version of the aboleth. Let's compare those. Whoops. There. Um, so it's pretty much the same everywhere. So here it says Monster Manual, page 13, but it's actually also in the basic rules, page 261. This game is the basic rules, so that's why it's showing it as there. Everything else is pretty much the same. Telepathy, 120 feet is between parentheses. It's not in here. It's fine. Then we can look at the features, and they are great. So enslave here, it's missing the 3 per day. That's something that I need to add. But other than that, let's do a tentacle attack. There's your tentacle attack. There's your damage. So I wonder what it does here from the SRD. So it's not the same description. It is the same modifier, +9. And for the damage, it's only doing the bludgeoning damage. But from the actual description, you can see here that it says when the creature is outside the body of water, it takes 1d12 acid damage every 10 minutes, blah, blah, blah. So that's why we have the 1d12. There's an extra damage here. So those are the small details that you'll notice as differences. You have regional effects. We have lair actions. If we compare with what's in the SRD, it's not entirely the same. There's a lair description. In the biography, we have a bit more content as well. So this is just on the aboleth. We can look at any other one. Um, we can drop their tokens here. They're not very visible. The dire wolf, draft horse. Um, dire wolf, you can view the character art. That's really great art in most of everything that we have seen here on D&D Beyond. They have really good art for everything, which I believe is the official art. Anyway, if you look at the mage, they have spells, so you get all the spells right there. So that's really cool. We can look at the classes, so you can see the bard class, their features, proficiencies, spellcasting, Song of Rest. Um, that's just all of these classes. Then you have the races themselves as well. You have all the information downloaded from D&D Beyond, and then you have the spells, of course, as well. Um, and here we have the journals, so you can also just look at the stuff from this from the journals directly. So that's great. Um, what else did we want to try? Right, the Forge of Fury, actually, we have the journals in the same way here. I didn't look at it, I didn't poke it earlier, but yes, the Forge of Fury, you will have the same access to the journals um, for your adventure. It will link your content when it finds it, like this. Um, and that's basically the look that I'm giving you here on the D&D Beyond integration. So it looks really good. I do know there are some issues. Like I said, there is currently no walling information from the adventures themselves. Um, there is no um, there's no cross-linking between different content, so that if the Forge of Fury here mentions a kobold, let's say, I'm sure it probably doesn't, but if it mentions the kobold being from the basic rules, not very specific to that adventure, then it won't be available to you. So I want to start doing that cross-linking between different adventures. So let's say you're importing Curse of Strahd or the Forge of Fury or any of the other adventures, then it would automatically also import the basic rules as a compendium and refer to content from it. That's something that's coming eventually as well. Um, we're missing the backgrounds and feats. We have the classes and races and spells, but no backgrounds, no feats. So those are coming as well. So there's a few little small details missing. Um, yes, the walling token placements, journal placements, lighting as well, um, a music track like playlists or ambient sounds within the map itself. Those are all eventually the ultimate aim for the adventure. So you would just import an adventure and it would just bring everything uh, with it. So it's just ready to play, right? So you can see in my assets library, I have my Curse of Strahd here imported automatically, added to my own um, assets library. Um, and if I wanted to give Curse of Strahd a try, um, you'll see what I mean by some of the stuff. But yes, eventually, that's something that I would like to release as a fan content, like the walling information and all that, so that it's available to everybody, even if they're not on the Forge, even if they're not using my D&D Beyond integration, so that you might be able to say, um, I want all these walls to just use them on this map um, without going through the whole import process, then that information is available somewhere. So we're still looking into that. Um, One of my worries is if, for example, someone might say, well, the wall information here is exposing the layout of the map, and that layout of the map is copyright protected, right? So we don't want that to be available. So I want to be sure that we're doing things properly, um, and we're taking our time with that, just to be done the right way and without offending any creator or anything of the sort. So yeah, the whole purpose, though, the whole thing is that it follows with the Forge primary focus, which is to provide convenience to the user. Um, yes, Phantom, you can copyright an image, not a shape, potentially. Um, but we have to be careful, right? Because it might not be black and white, right? There might be some shades of gray in the middle that makes it something that is worth asking the question, right? Um, well, map makers would potentially not be able to make those improved maps from a legal perspective. I think from a fan content policy perspective, it's not an issue. So they do release those maps as fan content, and so they are free, available, and they're not an issue. However, um, you could think about an architect, right? The architect's drawing of a building might be copyrighted, but how about the layout of the building? Is that layout also copyrighted? So there is a creative effort that happens into creating that layout, the placement of the sorry, of the rooms and everything in it. That is a creative aspect. So there might be some copyright protections on that. If we follow the fan content policy, that becomes less of an issue because it's explicitly allowed by Wizards of the Coast. Um, so, yeah, we still just need to make sure that everything is done properly. All right, let's see. Um, so just to go through it again, um, showing you how it would happen, right? You go to D&D Beyond here. You say, I want the player's handbook. Oh, this is gonna fail, I think, because I'm still logged in as the other user that doesn't have any content. Yeah. Oh, that user does have, I think, access to the PHP though. So I would I converted the PHP here as a module, right? And I could just as well convert any of the other rule books here or adventures as modules or as worlds. Um, and yeah, like that's it, I guess. I don't think I had much more to say, and we're already at 45 minutes, so it's been a long one. Um, so let's see if there are any questions that you know we might be able to answer here. Let's see. Next goal talks with Paizo. I think there's already talks with Paizo, not by me, however, but I know that the Pathfinder 1 and 2 system developers are in contact with them, so they are aware of Foundry and all of that stuff. So I think Paizo might be releasing stuff. I don't know. I'm not aware of those dealings, but I think if they do, they're probably going to release that under the premium content with Foundry directly. Um, I suppose another aspect of this would be even if it's legal, strictly speaking, D&D Beyond themselves might just get pissed and cut off access. So D&D Beyond themselves would not get pissed and cut off access because I have spoken with D&D Beyond and they seem to be excited about the feature. They love it and they do want to see it because it's providing great service to the players and that's what they want. At the end of the day, is to give players access to their content. So I don't think it's going to ruffle any feathers. But even if everyone is cool with it, I think being on the right side from a legal perspective is something that is always necessary, and that's something that I do want to work towards. Um, so, what's next? Any questions, or is everyone just excited? Um, Yeah, the Dobber. You wouldn't buy content on D&D Beyond if it didn't integrate with the VTT. I think that's also true for many users. Um, and one of the purposes that I have here is um, I don't want people to be buying the same content multiple times. I know that some people have bought the physical books, then they bought on Roll20, and then on Fantasy Grounds, and then on D&D Beyond, and then they're like, "Well, I bought this content 4 times. Now I'm switching to Foundry. I don't want to have to buy it again, right?" So that's why I wanted to integrate with D&D Beyond, so that it's if you buy it in D&D Beyond, which I consider personally to be the single point for everything to go from, um, then you would have access to it elsewhere at the same time. Ooh, time machine feature. Oh, that's a good one. It's unfortunately not specifically being worked on quite yet. It is a rather complex feature. That is something that I do want to do. Absolutely, it's been part of the original plans I had for um, for the world builder tier. Um, I will show you this Forge feature roadmap post on the forums. So it is definitely there. It's the current features. So I expect it to happen sometime this year because the roadmap is basically for this year. Um, but I wanted to get the D&D Beyond integration done first. This is not in order of importance, by the way. Um, but the D&D Beyond integration was for me something that I wanted to get out of the way sooner rather than later. And then I want to work a bit more on the polish and stability of the website because as it has been a little over a year now, there's been a lot of feature requests and a lot of, oh, if this thing was done, it would be better. And oh, this thing is a little difficult to understand. If we had a little help icon, that might make it better. So there's a lot of those, and they just add up. And I couldn't take care of all of them because of a focus on other things, other features. So I want to take some time to slow things down a little and work on the polishing of the website and the stability. I do have some work in the pipeline for integration with Demiplane as well, which is an absolutely amazing platform for looking for groups and matchmaking service between DM and players. We want to do a little website redesign, make it a little bit more modern and a bit more attractive to people. The Bazaar interface for the creators, this is already done, but there's improvements that can be done there to make things even better and easier, and um, providing to the creators the same kind of convenience that I'm providing to the users. And then the time machine um, is something also that I want to be working on this year. Um, so, Mr. Vox and others who are wondering what is this time machine feature, the purpose of the time machine feature. Let me show you. So, if you are looking at the plans and pricing for the Forge, the World Builder tier here has this time machine feature that is currently unavailable. Um, if you click, then it describes a little bit what it does. But to answer the question, it's basically being able to automatically save a backup of your world anytime it gets idled. So anytime that you've stopped playing. So after every session, basically, or after every um, every time you prep for a few hours and then you go to work or you go to sleep or something like that, then you come back and then you see, oh, there is a backup of the work that I did yesterday. Um, and it would allow you to, just like you can currently go to my foundry and do, let's say, clone world, and then you can just clone your world. You would be able to see a log of there was a session on April 1st and then another one on April 3rd, and two sessions, two prep sessions happened on April 7th. And then you can say, I want to see what my world looked like on April 1st. And it would just create a copy of the world like it was on that date. So you would just be able to quickly switch. And it's something that I've personally used quite a bit when I was using Roll20, whereas after every session, I would clone the world or campaign, how or game. I don't remember how they call it on Roll20, but yeah, I would clone it and keep a copy. So before session 3, after session 3, before session 4, after session 4, and I would use that. And so whenever there was some kind of unknown, well, when did you get 0 gold pieces? You were supposed to have like 1,000 or something. Then I would go back and try to find when the character's gold pieces went to 0, and then go to the previous one and say, oh, it was 1,317, and for some reason you probably misclicked somewhere and you dropped it to 0 during that session, and so I can recover like the state of a character's sheet, or the position of enemies and things like that. Let's see. Periodic beta, call it TARDIS. Oh, I, I don't know if I want to call it the TARDIS. Um, it needs to be larger on the inside. I'll have to work hard to make it larger on the inside. And then I can call it TRADIS. Okay. I'd like an improvement to the module search interface. Um, Compression. Oh my god. Yes, Vox. Perfect. Um, but that's the opposite, wouldn't it? It would be larger on the outside and smaller on the inside, thanks to compression. Hmm. That's a tough one, right? Um. All right. So improvement to the module search interface. What kind of improvement do you need here? Um. Well, yeah, larger files inside the archive, obviously. Yes, yes, you're right. I don't know why I saw it the other way around. But yes, compression is the solution to making it um, smaller on the outside than the inside. Actually, one of the features of the time machine is to actually provide external backups. So, if you're uh, if you are dependent on the forge and you don't like being dependent on a service that you don't control, then you could say, well, even if the forge is down today, which it shouldn't, it should never happen. Um, but let's say you want to have that peace of mind security of thinking, well, assuming it's down or for whatever reason, or my own internet is down, um, I can still have a backup because my last session was automatically backed up externally to my own server or something like that. So the idea is to have it basically be a Git repository that gets um, committed to every time a session is idled and then pushed to GitHub or something of the sort. One issue I want to resolve with that is uh, the risk that someone pushes it to a public repository and the game actually contains copyrighted content. So you shouldn't be able to do that. So that's one of the things that I want to be careful with, and uh, and make sure that we're not encouraging by having public external backups, encouraging copyright infringements by the users. That's one of the challenges that has kind of slowed down um, the timeline to get in the feature implemented. Time and relative dimensions on service. Tardos. It's a great name. Is it possible to rename a compendium or share a compendium that you've previously made? I know you can create new shared ones, but they all have the same name. Also, thanks. Your work is amazing. Um, Thank you, Labda Limited, for that. Um, so you can't rename a compendium. You could try to, let's say, create a new one and then copy content from one to the other. Um, but I'm not sure why you say they all have the same name. When you create a shared compendium, you decide the name that you want to give it. So I don't think I understood what you meant by they all have the same name. One thing to note is that when you rename a compendium, let's say manually, then you still need to modify the JSON file inside to make sure it points to the new paths. Um, Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Um, so let me see now what you say. Phantom. Being able to clear all the search terms would be good. So if we have um, search terms, yeah, there is no clear all. There's just clicking on them one by one. Customer would like to be able to check all rather than being forced to do them one at a time. I'd also like to be able to exempt the module from update checks. So check all for costume modules. That's indeed something that I haven't heard someone ask before. Um, but for the uh, update all, um, yes, that is something that I want to do. So let's see. Here's a little trick if you are not aware of. If I change my base version um, to something like I want to go back to 0.6, um, then I go to the bazaar, then it will suggest that I downgrade. So DND5E needs to be downgraded to 0.98 because that's the last version that was compatible with 0.6. So yeah, you might have noticed that I've added these clickable recently. That's part of the polish and improvements that I was talking about earlier. So you can, I know it's behind you. It could potentially be enough, but if you really wanted, you can just click the little external button icon here to actually see the package open in a new window. But yes, one of the things I want to add is on the left side here, just check boxes to allow you to select all, select none, and or just saying update everything apart from this module because I don't want that one to be updated before clicking the update. That's one of the things I wanted to add, and it's coming. It's part of the polish stuff I wanted. The clear all for the search terms and the check all for custom modules. I'll need to add that as a feature suggestion. Let the limited. Thank you for replying, Kakaroto. What I mean from that was, if I click the create shared compendium button, all the files it creates are called like actors shared, regardless of what I name the main shared thing. So I have like three. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yes, that is another part of the improvements that I wanted to make. Um, the current create shared compendium just lets you give it a name. I want that to be a bit um, uh, more complete UI, where you can actually say, well, I want to add a compendium for actors. I want to add a compendium for items, and then name them what you want, so that um, you can have a compendium that is just for monsters, and then you would not have actors. You would just have you wouldn't have characters. I can't remember actually the shared compendium, what it contains in terms of compendium. I think there's one that is called actor and one that is called monsters. So you would decide, okay, I just need monsters. I don't need actors. Or you want a spells compendium, then you would just do um, spells as items without having actors in that specific compendium. Um, so yeah, that's about it. My nickname, my username, Kakaroto, is let me show you first how you're supposed to pronounce it, how you're supposed to say it. This is what I need to. All right. There you go. Now everybody, when they talk to me, this is how they say it. Um, so Kakaroto is the Saiyan name of Son Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Um, Perfect. That's exactly how you're supposed to scream it. Um, so yeah, that's where my nickname comes from, and I chose that nickname in university when I was doing so many um, like not sleeping and working 3 days straight with no sleep, and my my university was pretty brutal, and I realized that I was um, pushing myself beyond what I thought was um, my limits. And I got my inspiration from Dragon Ball Z Son Goku, who, they would be completely dead or almost, and they would have zero energy. And then, just in order to cross that finish line and defeat the evil bad guy, they would find some way to get more energy from somewhere they didn't think existed, and then be able to finish it. And that was the sentiment that I had when I was uh, working so hard sometimes. So yeah, that's where the name comes from, Kakaroto. It's being able to push yourself beyond what you thought was imaginable, just to be able to do the work. And I'm doing that again now with the Forge, actually. So um, I've come back to that state. Um, do we need the hair as well? Static electricity or hell gel? No, you don't need the to put your hair like that. That's only when I go Super Saiyan. Then my hair becomes yellow, goldish, and I start to emanate an aura of energy, and my hair becomes like that. You don't have to have Super Saiyan powers in order to address me. You can just scream the Kakaroto, and that's all you need. Thank you so much. That is exactly what I wanted to hear. I would like to split the monsters into aberrations, beasts, and spells, etc. So thank you. I'm glad to hear this is coming. Yes, it is coming. It's part again of this thing, polish and stability. It's the kind of features I've seen people want, and I wanted to add as well, but I just couldn't find the time to do it because of all the other stuff I'm trying to do. D&D Beyond integration was part of it. The Bazaar was part of it. Um, in recent months, hiring, onboarding, accounting, um, incorporating as well. Because yeah, one of the news, I guess I should have said that at the beginning of this stream. One of the news is that the Forge is incorporated, and we are switching to a new legal entity. So that has been quite a fun thing to go through as well. Um, it would be nice if I could see which modules actually take up game data space, like um, some that add compendiums and which ones are on the bazaar. So you can already do that. KevCool, you can go to your My Foundry page and then select files to delete. And that gives you your worlds, your systems, your modules, and you can see how much space they use. So like Atropos' Patreon battle map pack is only 1.3 megs. Everything else is just bytes, um, mostly. So you can see that. And one other suggestion that I've heard is being able to sort by size or sort by name for this list. So that's definitely something that I also want to add eventually, to help you more easily see what is taking up the most space. But you can do it. It's just you have to go through the list manually, but you can see how much space each thing is taking. Either systems, worlds as well. This is important to make sure that your worlds are always rather small. Usually, just a few megs. And then I don't know what this gift of the web is. Probably someone was having issues. Old world as well. Having issues, and I was testing for them, so they're huge. And usually, your world is going to be around 10 megabytes. Um, let's see, what else? What other questions are there? Whenever you go to screaming into the void shells, yeah. What it means, new legal entity? Oh, it just means that the Forge itself, instead of being the Forge VTT, it's now the Forge VTT Inc. That's what it means. It's not a, it's not going to be a change for you guys, but it's a change for me from how the business is run. So it's kind of stops being Kakaroto's project. It becomes a corporation that is incorporated in Canada, well, in Quebec, and yeah, it's just a bit different from my side, but that has required a lot of work. That unfortunately, while working on that front, it was taking away time from other software development, obviously. Um, Corporation now. Big Brother. Do many monsters work here? Just me. I'm the monster. Um, I guess. Uh, I do have, so to actually answer the question. I do have now a few contractors. That started in January. Destiny Gray, who you're seeing in the chat, is one of those contractors. He's the executive assistant who's been helping me a lot for the past couple of months with taking care of all the things that have been draining a lot of my time, um, so that I can concentrate on making the Forge move forward rather than being bogged down with like 8 hours every day just going through my messages and emails and things like that. So yeah, uh, Destiny Gray is one of the monsters working there. Kevin, D&D Population Me, if you've talked with him before, has been with us since September as a contractor as well. He's still working with us. We have Evan Irrational, who is also contracting, who has been working on the asset sync feature that is coming soon. That will probably be showing and talking about more in the next dev update. Um, I'm hoping, assuming within next couple of weeks, we'll be doing that. Um, uh, yeah, Kevin has been doing the video editing, the tutorials. He's been massive presence in Discord and the forums to give tech support um, help out in various functions. There, he's worked on the demo world. So we have a demo world for people who want to try um, Foundry, and that demo world. I should probably have a look at it a bit more. But anyway, that demo world was kind of a first test area, but we're working on a second one that is a bit more focused and easier to understand for users who are not knowledgeable in Foundry. So Kevin has been heading that work as well. Um, well, else? We have Jeff 14, who is the CMO working on all things marketing. So he's been working on the website redesign to make it a bit more clearer how to improve um, the users coming to the website to so they can understand what the Forge actually is. Um, so that's basically the team. I think. I really hope I didn't forget someone. Uh, but yeah. So let's see. I'm confirmed troll. Obviously, they are going to employ smiths. If you're a troll, do you regrow your limbs when they get cut off? Wizards, of course. Plan on translating the website to different languages. Yes, there is a plan to do internationalization for the website. It is not, unfortunately, a priority right now. I think it will probably be in the next roadmap. So for next year, that would be something that I'll be working on. I have seen people just with Google Translate navigate through the Forge in their own native language, and it works rather well. But changing the website, like I was mentioning before, we're doing a website redesign. That is going to be part of it, but we're not going to move forward with the translation just yet because it is substantial amount of work that I think I would rather at this time spend that time on improving the site and adding new features rather than internationalization. Even though we have um, servers in Asia, we have servers in Europe, so we are catering to an international audience. Um, Generally, um, with Google Chrome or other browser automatically translating the website, it does the job well enough that I don't think it's a huge blocker. Do note, however, that we've added recently. So if I disable the game management features, we've added recently that you can go to um, your configuration for your games, and you can select the core Foundry language from there, and it will automatically install the appropriate module for it. So if I save this, installed Foundry core language module, Italian translation. So it will automatically install the correct module for you and configure Foundry to use that. So that in theory, if I launch into it, then the setup page and the join page would be translated. In this case, it would be in Italian. So I guess it didn't work. I'm not sure if this page is supposed to be translated. My password thingy. But yeah. Oh, 0.6.6. Yeah, I should not have changed that. Let me just go back. Oops. Before I make a mistake, yeah, let's go back to the latest stable version. So I think the translation was a 0.7 feature. Let's see. What other questions did I get? Um, so it should be in Italian. Maybe the module doesn't have the translation. Oh, it's set back to English for. Oh no, I need to reload the page. I know what happened. There, now that should work. Um, so what was the questions here? Something the other day I watched the stream, had some issues and helped me. I said to him, if I ever spoke to the boss, I would say he was great. We go again. Yes, Kevin is great, absolutely. Um, so there you go. It's in French. Um, so yeah. Um, that's it. All right. Let's continue the questions. Do you have any advice on what the best web browser to run Foundry in is? I would say Chrome. Edge, Microsoft Edge or Chrome. The two browsers that are officially supported are Chrome and Firefox. Edge counts as Chrome because it's Chromium based. Um, I know that some people have tried Safari and it just simply does not work. I know Opera works, but it has some quirks, so it's not that great. Firefox works, and it is officially supported, but Firefox can sometimes act weird. So you do have to keep that in mind. Generally speaking, it will work, but the best browser to have the best experience, I would still recommend to use Chrome or Edge. Those run relatively well for it. This was the game from my computer and Foundry app, and I didn't experience any lag or anything. But the same with Tool First. I've had some problems with audio lag among myself and players. It else works great though. I don't have many entities in the world, mostly compendiums. So the lag mostly with audio. I'm not sure what you mean by audio, like playlists or like audio calls. Um, but if you didn't have lags using the Foundry app, that's probably because the server was running locally, so you had nearly infinite bandwidth. So you're using your own computer, so it's definitely going to be different when you're using a remote server. Your friends might have noticed more lag than you would have because they're connecting to you, so they to them you are remote. Um, but yeah, so for the playlists, I'm not sure. It depends on a couple of things. Um, there's the there's some issues with um, playlist support in Foundry right now. That will get better with the upcoming release of 0.8. From what I hear, there is something to keep in mind when you're doing audio. It's that you can edit the sound, and oh, it's in French. Right. Let, let me let me just configure it back to English. There you go. So you can edit the the sound, and there's large file streaming. If that's not checked, then you will have lag because Foundry needs to download the entire file before it plays it. So depending on the size of the audio, that can be that can cause the lag. But with large file streaming, it will just start streaming right away, so it's just going to be better. But it does have its own quirks. So if you start switching, especially if you're looking for a specific track and you have a lot of sounds in a playlist, you start switching from one to the other, then at some point it will just stop playing any audio. So you have to keep that in mind. Let's see. For players using Edge and Opera. Opera, I'm not so sure. I think they have some quirks with Opera that it doesn't always work so good. But I know that some people use it. Um, it's not so bad though. The Foundry app, right? If you look at the Foundry app itself, it is Chromium based. So you're looking at it. Uh, it's basically the same thing as Chrome. It just has the address bar hidden, basically. So that's why with the main app versus a Chromium based uh, um, browser like Opera, Edge, Chrome itself, obviously, you're going to have the best results. What about streaming from another source? Like if I have a bunch of audio in Dropbox, I don't think you can do that. I'm not entirely sure. It might be doable. Um, you would have to check. You would basically be editing the audio source here to point to the raw MP3 file from from your Dropbox file. If you can find that file, that URL. Thank you for the subscription, Barl Garel. I hope that's how I'm supposed to pronounce your name. Um, Thank you for subscribing, and thanks for those who followed, by the way, and for actually being here and asking questions. Let's see. Do we have other questions here? Um, hmm. You're welcome, Labda Limited. Foundry, I think, is the good alternative to Roll20. So thank you to Andrew Atropos for actually building Foundry. Um, to me, though, Roll20 did a really good job with the cloud offering. The online user experience of you sign up, you have an invitation link, and you just play. You log straight into your game, already logged in, and things like that. So that's what I aim to provide to Foundry users with the Forge. The same kind of convenience of having games that are available 24/7 and all of that stuff. So I'm glad that it's sorry. I'm glad that it's working out and people are enjoying the service. And thank you for using the service. Um, ooh, favorite class. That's a tough one. Um, I I've enjoyed playing as a barbarian just because I can go reckless both in the class feature as well as in the roleplay. So if I notice people are wasting a little bit too much time wondering about how to attack, I just do Leroy Jenkins and just go reckless and jump into the action, and I have enjoyed doing that. I'm not sure if my um, party members enjoyed me acting dumb and that way derailing the plans, but I did enjoy doing that. Um, I think I'm not sure between favorite class between rogue and paladin. Both are um, both I think are equally favorite for me. Uh, let's see. Thank you, Ladda Limited. You appreciate the convenience. Thank you. Favorite game to run, either pre-made like Storm King Thunder or a homebrew. I have um, I have DM'd Curse of Strahd for about 2 years. Um, that's my main game that I have a lot of love for because I have lived as Strahd for a long time, right? So that would be my favorite one. But I haven't really run um, other games that much. I've played in a few one shots that I've enjoyed quite a bit, but Curse of Strahd, that world, that psychology of Strahd himself, and all that, um, it has to be my favorite. It's just so great. I think the adventure itself needs some improvements, but thankfully the Reddit Curse of Strahd um, contains a lot of information on how to improve it, and I've been picking from the official source book with various recommendations on um, on Reddit, and I wouldn't say I homebrewed it, but I have mixed and mashed from various things enough that I ended up with a Curse of Strahd game that I really really enjoyed. Um, that's why I often use Curse of Strahd as my example in a lot of the videos and demos that I do. Um, oh, congrats! Forever DM becoming a player. That's cool. I have been a forever DM as well, and I've only been doing one shots here and there. Um, I would love to start as a player in a long term campaign. Like Curse is great, obviously, um, but I would I have avoided reading many of the materials um, because I want to be that player with zero spoilers, in a game. Um, so yeah, hopefully at some point, I'll have enough free time to be able to give my commitment to someone that I'll be there every week for X hours for the next year or two. Thanks for the invitation, Lada. I would love to, but at the moment I cannot give that commitment yet. Eventually, though, I'm hoping to have a better, saner life-work balance, um, and then I'll be able to do that. So, I think that's about it. We've been going on for an hour and a half. The plan was originally just half an hour. Thankfully, I think we've showed the features and the changes and most of the thing within that first half hour. Then we were mostly talking about the various things and showing off the D&D Beyond integration, then answering questions in a more relaxed way. Um, so we'll do a VOD of that stuff. Um, but yeah, I think we're gonna call it a day. Again, for the raffle, the winners: Andrak Sanguine, Cowboy One, Humperdinck the Warlock, Metro Knight, and Vampire Owls. Congratulations on winning the $20 gift card. Um, and thank you all for coming, for participating, for um, asking those questions and having a look at what the Forge has to provide. Um, so yeah, there you go, and thank you, and I'll let you guys get back to playing. I guess it is Sunday, so it's time to play D&D. Thank you all, and good day.